So what's happening, everybody? It's Monday afternoon. It's 4:30 p.m. where I'm at. I'm not sure where everybody else is, and I guess if you stop in and say hello, you can tell me where you're at. Anyway, so what a day! It's a Monday. So, topic of the day. Let's see. Let's talk about warranty problems with your car. So, I have a 2025 Chevy Equinox, and when I bought the car, I bought something called Crystal Fusion, which goes on the windshield. It's supposed to protect the windshield, and it's supposed to take away the glare and help the water run off better and stuff like that. So, hi Ashley. So I was going home. Well, actually, I wasn't going home. I was going on a trip yesterday. I was on the interstate, and I caught a rock to the windshield and put a little crack in it. Or not a crack, just a little dimple in it. So I had remembered a while ago that, I had gotten this Crystal Fusion thing from my finance company when I financed the car. And it's supposed to cover quite a few things. Well, I called a few weeks ago because I just happened to remember that, somebody was supposed to call me and set the appointment up. Nobody ever did. So I called back a couple of days later, and I was like, hey, can you have whoever it is supposed to call me and, let them know and call me, and so I could get this set up so I could go have this Crystal Fusion thing put on my windshield. So the girl says, yeah, the person you need to talk to isn't in my office and not in the service department. That's something finance does. I said, okay, so fine. So she assured me he would call me, and he didn't. So I called back a couple of days later, and she's like, oh yeah, he's real busy right now, and we'll have him get to you and we'll get you fixed up. Okay, whatever. So I waited and waited and waited. Here we are 3 weeks later. Now, I don't drive this car a whole lot because it's a new car. I don't like driving it in the rain. I don't like driving it in the snow. And I don't particularly care for driving it at night either, but I do. And I bought this car in September. It's only got 2,500 miles on it. I bought it brand new. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But, fucking traffic jam right at the intersection. Come on, people, get the hell out of the way. Let's go. Got a gas pedal for a reason. Anyway, so nobody ever called me back. So here I am still waiting 3 weeks later, and I decided yesterday I was going to take a little road trip. So I'm going down Interstate 270 towards Union, Missouri, which is about, an hour from my house, I guess. I'd been in the car maybe 15 minutes, and I catch a rock to the windshield and puts a crack in it. Well, it's not really cracked, it's just a dimple, but, fact remains is I got hit by a rock. So I decided to call the place this morning, Johnny Londahl Chevrolet, and I say, hey, this is the deal. I was supposed to have this Crystal Fusion thing, and nobody ever called me, and it wasn't put on, and I've got a little dimple in my windshield now. I need to know what we need to do to get it fixed. So girl's like, well, I'm in training and I don't know what to tell you, and this and that and the other thing. So she says, well, let me check on it because I don't know much about it, and we've had some changes go on around here, and we're downsizing, and I'm new, so I'm kind of still in training. And so she says, hold on a minute and I'll be back. I said, okay, fine. So she put me on hold, and I sat on hold probably for, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes, something like that. And the phone dies. Oh boy. So I figured it was my signal. So I get on the phone, I call back, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, you got cut off or whatever. So I start talking to her again. Well, this was a different girl, and she's like, well, I don't really know much about this, and I'm thinking to myself, how do you guys work at a dealership? And you've got these things going on, and for people that need to bring their cars in and you don't know what's going on. So anyway, I start telling her the story again about, how I bought this Crystal Fusion thing, when I bought the car, and it was supposed to be put on my windshield. Somebody was supposed to call me, it never did. I called them, they never called me back. I called again, they never called me back. So I'm going down the road to catch a rock in the windshield, and I need to know who do I need to make a claim with? Do I need to make an appointment to come into service? Or do I need to take it to a windshield shop, have them repair it, or what? And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go talk to this guy, and one of us will get back to you today. So that was at like 10:30 this morning. So finally somebody gets back to me this afternoon, and she says, well, we need to give you this phone number because this is the place that deals with this Crystal Fusion thing that goes on your windshield. Just tell them you need to make a claim, that you tell them what you told me, that you caught a rock in the windshield. I said, okay, fine. So I took the phone number, I gave this lady a call, and one of the first things she asked me is for my, like the last 6 of my VIN. So I give her that. She wants to know my name, my phone number, my life story, and the whole 9 yards. So I give her all the information she needs. So then she says, well, and I was telling her the story about what happened, how I was supposed to have this Crystal Fusion put on the windshield, but it hadn't been put on yet. And she's like, well, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, sir, but without having that Crystal Fusion on there, we can't do anything to warranty a repair or a replacement of your windshield. And I'm like, oh, well, thanks a lot, So I get off. She says, well, let me send you some information. So she sent me some stuff, and she was like, well, when you get off the phone with me, wait till you get my email, and it's gonna have some forms and stuff in it, and this and that and the other thing, and get a hold of Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and let them know what's going on. I said, okay, fine. So I call back, and I knew the guy that was in the finance department. I knew his name, so I left a message for him to call me, and he calls me back. And he's like, oh, we're sorry about this inconvenience and this and that, and we're going to get you fixed up. And unfortunately, you're right. We were making some changes, and somebody was supposed to call you and have this Crystal Fusion thing put on your windshield. Now this is 3 months later. I've had this car since October, November, December, January, February. So I've had this car 5 months, and nobody has said anything to me about putting this Crystal Fusion stuff on my windshield. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. So he's got this other guy in finance. He says, well, I know that this other guy's working. Did he not call you yet? And I'm like, no, nobody's called me today except for you and the little girl that works in, setting up the appointments for service or whatever. So he's like, well, okay, well, I'm going to leave him a note, in his email, and have him call you. And he's off tomorrow, so I can call you Wednesday, first thing Wednesday. So I'm thinking to myself, now wait a minute, how come this guy that called me today can't go ahead and make the steps to get me into the service department and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of? Then he can pass along all the information to this other guy. And he's like, well, we were talking about, does your windshield need to be replaced? And I'm like, dude, it's just, it's just a little nick. I mean, I can see it through the windshield. It's not that big. I mean, I guess if I let it go and it heats up and cools off and heats up and cools off, it's probably going to crack, eventually. But right now, I can just feel it with my fingernail. It's no big deal. So anyway, here I am. I'm having to play the waiting game with the phone calls now. So it's a real pain in the ass because this is something that should have been done, like the first time I even drove the car. I should have had it put on already. But like I said, I was under the impression, and it's true, the guy told me it was true that, this stuff was supposed to be done, when I bought the car. And they were going to call me and have me come in and apply this crystal stuff. So it's just, I don't know. Somebody dropped the ball somewhere along the way. But I guess that's what happens, when big volume car dealership, and you know, people just kind of fall through the cracks. But anyway, so I'll let you guys know how that goes, because this is like a to be continued type thing, you know. Anyway, so other than that, you know, it was a pretty good day today, I guess. I stay busy at work, you know, 90% of the time. So I've had a long day, 10 hours today, worked 6 to 4:30, and I'm headed home. So I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to do another video, because I like it. My daughter's on there somewhere. I don't know where she's at right now. She said hello to me earlier. Well, if you guys don't mind, give me a like and a subscribe or something, whatever it is you guys do. That would be really cool. So anyway, weekend was pretty cool. I went down to Union, Missouri yesterday, and we always go down interstate, was that 6440 or something, that goes down to Union, Missouri, from where I live. And it's a pretty nice route, you know, there's not a whole lot going on. But we decided that we were going to take the scenic route home. And so we were like, I don't know if this is like the foothills of the Ozarks or what it is, but it's like all these twisty, turny, curvy roads. It was actually pretty cool. It was nice and, you know, smooth, and wasn't a lot of traffic. That helped. Of course, I didn't have to worry about anybody hitting my windshield again with another rock. But that was pretty cool. There's a lot, you know, like country wineries out there, and stuff like that, old farmhouses. I'm not even really sure. I think it was Highway 41, I think is what that is. But there's this, along the way there were these smokestacks, and I don't know if it's a power plant of some kind or something out there, maybe on the lake or a river. I know that the Missouri River runs parallel to the road, or one river, I don't know if it's the Missouri, but one of the roads runs parallel to the road that we were on, or the river does, and there was a big building out there that had these smokestacks. Now, when I leave work in the evenings, sometimes if I'm looking, I guess, southwest, maybe, I can see like a steam coming out of these, like it's coming out of a smokestack or something. So I'm guessing that that's probably the place, and I didn't even catch the name of it, because we went right by it though. But it's like 20 miles from here, and you can see the smoke, you know, coming out of the smokestacks. It's like the coolest thing. Anyway, so there's no questions or anything today. Nobody wants to talk to me or whatever. Feel free. The floor is yours. If you got questions or comments, feel free. I got 8 people on here. That's pretty unusual for me to be having that many people this time of day. But it's cool though. I appreciate you guys stopping in, that's for sure. But if you want to subscribe, go ahead. I'm not really in this for like the money or anything. I just, you know, I like making the videos because it's kind of cool to, you know, share my life and what's going on with me with other people. I see a lot of other people that, like these Indian people especially, it's funny. During the day sometimes I flip through, like at lunchtime, I'll flip through like the live channels that are on, and there's all these Indians over there, not Indians in the United States, Indians over in India, Indians, those kind, and they're just sitting there, you know, and I don't know if they're reading the comments or what's going on, but you know, like comments, there's none of it in English, and they're just sitting there, you know, I guess. They got a pretty good feed. I mean, apparently the following, because there's a lot of people commenting on whatever it is they're saying. Of course, I don't read Indian, so I don't know what it is they're saying. But and then you got a lot of tarot card readers. That seems to be like the big thing these days. Everybody wants to read tarot cards for some reason. And you got your people that, you know, they talk about politics and things like that. I don't really want to get into politics because I feel like that's kind of boring and stupid. You know, and it causes a lot of problems. You get a lot of nasty people wanting to say a lot of nasty things, so I'd rather just not even have that on my channel. And then you got the kids. Oh, the kids are a trip. They're brutal with each other these days too. Of course, I think I talked a little bit about that the other day when I was on my way home from work. I was talking about, being on the VR, virtual reality, the Meta Horizon worlds. These kids are on there, they're just all over the place. I don't know where these kids' parents are. They want to talk to adults and stuff, and I'm like, hey, kid, you shouldn't be talking to adults, especially strange people that you don't know. So I try to stay out of the places where they are, but anyway, kids are brutal. Then you got, you got people that do funny videos, and there's this other thing I've seen more recently. It's like, you've got like a case, and it's got lines in it that have these different color balls, and these balls are all mixed up, and it's like a race, and they're different colors for each slot or whatever, and it's a race to see how fast, I guess, you can get all the right colors in the right slot. That's a trip. If you sit and watch it for 5 or 10 minutes, I really don't have that much time, because I like to eat at lunch too. Then you have people that want to bitch and whine about everything. I try to not to do too much of that either. It doesn't help me to bitch and whine about stuff. I guess I don't know, I'd rather just answer questions and stuff. If anybody's got any questions you'd like to ask me or whatever, just feel free to comment. You can hit the like button, that would be cool, or you can subscribe, and that would be cool too. It's kind of up to you. But anyway, so today's a nice day. It was, 60 degrees today. A couple weeks ago we had some snow. And then over the weekend, it started to warm up a little bit. I think it was like 54 yesterday or something like that. It was mid-50s yesterday. Today it got up to 60, so we opened up the doors in the shop. It was nice to get some fresh air for a change. It's usually pretty cold and kind of dreary, in there. So they opened up the bay doors today and got some air, which was really nice. And I've seen people on the interstate here. I go Interstate 60. I don't know if this is Interstate Highway 364, Page Extension. So goes from where I work, the backside of my house up near St. Louis. Anyway, it's about a 25-minute drive. But there are people out here on the road today. It's got their windows down. That's nice to see. Springtime's right around the corner. But last week it was 5 degrees, and then 60 today. So the weather's really strange out here in Missouri. There's an old saying, or if you want to know what the weather's like in Missouri, just wait 5 minutes, because it's constantly changing. Of course, we're in the flyover country, kind of halfway between the cold and the warm, the East Coast or whatever. So it's really cool that it's 60 degrees today anyway. I think it's supposed to be a little warmer tomorrow maybe, and then most of the week this week, and then I think we're supposed to have maybe 1 or 2 more weeks of cold weather coming in generally. But I'm not so sure about that either. Oh, I got 12 people watching me. Isn't that cool? That's like the most I've ever had at one time. It's nice to see my numbers go up a little bit. People looking and responding. Nobody's responded or asked me any questions yet. Feel free. There's a question thing down there at the bottom, comments. Leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. But looking forward to the weekend already. It's only Monday, and I'm like crazy. We had some guys in from Chicago last week that were building trucks, and they got ahead of the game. We're doing Home Depots right now, the vans. You go to Home Depot, if you got something you want to move, you rent a van or a truck from them. So we've got some vans that we're doing for Home Depot right now. And there was like 4 or 5 extra people there last weekend from Chicago, and they did a lot of building. So really all that's left now is to put decals into things, get them inspected, and get them out the door. That's what I do. I inspect vehicles, or I inspect the builds. When they build them, there's certain things that have to be on the truck, and I have to just go down the list to make sure they're all there, take photos and that kind of thing. So we got enough work coming up to keep us busy for the rest of the year. It's amazing that it's the infrastructure things. A lot of the companies we build for, well, except for Home Depot, are mostly like extermination companies. We do a lot of stuff for the railroad. We do air conditioning and heating trucks. We do police cars. Every now and then we get like railway police in vehicles for them. Those are usually SUVs. We do security companies. Let's see, what else do? We do a lot of stuff. We do a national cash register trucks. It's a lot of fun. It can be at times. I don't actually build trucks anymore. I did for like the first year and a half. I built the trucks, but they asked me if I would put in for the inspector's job, so that's what I do now. I inspect trucks for a living, which is pretty cool. It's pretty easy day, but it's just continuous work. Back a lot of walking. I get about 10,000 steps a day or something like that. And this is just all in an area that's probably, I don't know, 50 yards by 20 yards or something like that. 50 long, 20 wide. I do about, 10 or 12 vehicles a day is what I get inspected. And then I have to take photos, so I upload photos and do a lot of paperwork and stuff like that. Emails, I have to check emails, and every once in a while I'll get something that says that there are a bunch of vehicles that are on hold that haven't been assigned yet. So I inspect them to a certain point, and then when the order comes in for whoever it comes in from, they'll say, well, we want such and such truck, VIN number, work order number, or whatever. And then they go get them, and I have to do what they call ready ship. So up to that point, they're on hold, just waiting for the vehicles to be assigned. And then once they get assigned, they give me a list. And like last week, I think I had 49 trucks that I had to go through and ready ship. And that list came at 8:30 in the morning. I think I finally got finished with it around 10 o'clock or something like that. It was 49 vehicles or something like that. So they were all Home Depots, and it varies from company to company, what we get. But the only kind of trucks that I usually get to go ahead and do a ship through on are the ones that are leaving, immediately. They put them on trucks, and then they leave and are delivered to dealerships and things like that, or the company itself. And those are the ones that are constantly moving. We've had some of those last week, but more or less now, because it's gotten so expensive to move things by train and truck, that because of the fuel prices, of course, but I'm not going to get into that either. They've been taking these vehicles, and a lot of them are what they call customer pickups or drive-away. So these companies will subcontract people to come to my job, and they'll pick up these trucks. And of course, there's an inspection process that they have to do on them as well before they take them, and then they'll drive them to wherever they're going. So that's been something that's happened, more lately, I guess because of the economy, the way the gas prices are, and everything's going up, so the shipping costs for these vans and trucks go up. And a lot of companies, it's cheaper for them to pay somebody, through I guess a logistics company, I guess how they do it, but they'll send these people to our company, and they'll pick up the trucks, and they usually bring like an overnight bag. It's really a trip to see them, because they'll come in on an airplane or something like that, or they'll have delivered a vehicle somewhere in the area to a different company from somewhere else, and they'll come to our shop and then pick up another vehicle and take that somewhere, and maybe even have one waiting, once they get that vehicle to where it's going, they'll drive another vehicle to another place. It's really cool how that works. So, and it seems to be pretty lucrative, because there's a lot of people driving vehicles now, and I guess that's like the thing to do if you're retired or want to keep, contributing to doing things, keep stuff moving. But like I said, they'll pick these vehicles up through the customer pickups, and they take them to wherever they're going. So, but there's been a slight increase in that here lately, especially with like the Home Depot trucks and vans. We do two types for them. We do a van, cargo van, which is the Chevy Express, and it's the one, the long van. And then they do what they call a load and go, which is a flatbed truck. And so we get these Dodge trucks in. They have just the cab on them. They don't have anything else, and then we have to drill holes and put special mounts and stuff like that on them. We set the flatbed on there so that a lot of construction companies, like small time construction companies, will take these things for hauling equipment or gravel or stuff like that. It's pretty cool the way those things go together. They're the Dodge Ram 2500s, and then the other ones, like I said, are the Chevy Express vans. And they have like rails on the inside. It's what we call a track, so that you can strap things to the walls of these vans. And they're mostly light duties. Like, they don't want you to put any more like 3,000 pounds on these things. So they're light duty vans. Well, they're the Express, they're not made for real heavy stuff. You want to save that for your pickup trucks or trailers or whatever. But then we put decals on them, the Home Depot decals, and that's a pretty cool process. They're almost like a wrap, like the upper sides on both sides are done. They've got aprons on them, and then they do the back doors. And of course, they get a triangle kit, which is like a reflective kit they put in them, so that somebody leases the van for the day or rents it or whatever, and they run into flat tire or whatever, they have this triangle kit they can put. They have a fire extinguisher in them in case they have a fire. Those usually are built rather quickly. It only takes about 3.5 hours to actually put one of those things together, or actually to put the equipment in anyway. So the loading goes, though, those are like a 30-hour build or something like that, because they've got these sensors in them that if you go over a weight capacity, there's an alarm that goes off, and they're sensors that go on, I guess, the springs in the back, and if it goes down a certain amount, like if it starts out here and it goes down to here, it sets these alarms off and lets you know, hey dummy, you got too much weight on this truck or whatever. But the thing we found is that those sensors, if like when we've got these things on hold, they have a illuminated light on the LED lights, but if you leave them like parked too long, they have a tendency to drain the batteries. So we end up replacing batteries and charging them and all kinds of stuff. It's a real nightmare. I'd rather them, have like a switch on the inside that you could turn that on and off. But the problem is that if you do that and people rent these trucks, they're not going to be smart enough or responsible enough to flip a switch to let them know that the weight capacity is over. So they stay on all the time. But speaking of batteries, we've had a lot of problems with the Chevy batteries because they're what they call an AGM battery now, instead of being the lead acid like you would normally find in a car. And they have, I don't know, there's something with a glass pack on the insides, and then they put the charging solution in between, like this glass packs or something. It's really weird the way they explained it to me. But you can't leave those things unattended for long either, because they put them in the Chevy Equinox, like the 2024 Equinox. I have a 25 and I've got the same kind of battery, but I drive mine, more than these were getting driven. They would come to our shop and get built and then sit for, 6 or 8 months before they actually assigned them to somebody. So these batteries go dead. And there for a while, we were just, putting a charge on them and sending them out. But we found out that even out in the field, after they were driven a couple of days, that people were complaining about the batteries dying. And the reason for this is, and I don't know how it is with other car companies, but especially with the Chevy cars with these AG batteries, since they're push button start, most of them now, the car is constantly looking and sending a signal out to search for these key fobs, right? And if you have that happen over a period of time, it'll kill the battery, because that's like a constant drain, because it's got this sensor that senses all around it all the time. Another thing is when we put these together, that we got light bars on the top, and there's a console that we put in that goes here. We didn't realize it, but this console is constantly pulling power, even though it's not illuminating anything. It constantly pulls power off the battery as well. So what they figured out is that we were having a drain problem, not only from the equipment that we put in, but from the factory. So I guess they finally figured it out. Now Chevrolet, what I understand, is these batteries that come in, if they have warranty, they're like, treat them like a warranty now. So if anything happens to these batteries, they'll replace them. And this was something that, we stayed in contact with a dealership that we deal with to figure this out, or to find it out anyway, because there seems to be an abundance of these. But anyway, the reason they changed the design of the battery was because of the vibration on the road, or the suspension in the car, or something. It's really stupid. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my favorite saying. And it seems like these car companies, and I guess I know why they're doing it, is because of they're testing these different types of batteries, maybe for the EV cars down the road or something like that. But so they've started warranting these batteries. Now I personally replaced like 50 of these things in the shop. So our company that I work for was actually, before we figured all this out, was buying these batteries. Now these things are $245 a pop. So that, if you figure $245 times at least the 50 that I changed out, that's a pretty good chunk. But anyway, we got it all situated anyway. All right, folks. Well, it's I'm at home now. It's time for me to get in here and pet my dog and play with him for a little bit. And he's always waiting at the door for me when I get here, because he hears my horn toot, because I got one of those automatic lock things. So it's been real nice, at least talking to myself anyway. I wish people would be brave and ask some questions or something. That would be really cool. So maybe next time I get on, if you 4 people that are here want to ask me some questions, that would be you know, I've had a lot of people come and go since I've been looking up every now and then, and my numbers are nice. So if you don't mind doing me a favor, just, you know, hit the like button and maybe subscribe as well. I'm not really in this for the monetary thing. I just like seeing my numbers increase and see how many people actually, you know, enjoy just listening to me ramble on about absolutely nothing. So anyway, you guys take it easy. And Ashley, if you're still there, I'll talk to you later. Okay. And you guys have a good evening. Take care of yourselves and be good to each other. All right. Bye-bye.